you add, just as it's ready to go, ready to serve, you add 2 tablespoons of dry sherry. You see how little this is? You've reduced this by half, about 2½ cups. 2 tablespoons of dry sherry, and you have something that is called a demi-glaze. A demi-glaze, which means a half glaze, doesn't it? It's a strange name, but this is used for flavoring other sauces. For instance, I have a basic white sauce here. Let me show you what I'm going to do. I can put a bit of demi-glaze, just a spoon, because it's very rich, it's terribly concentrated, into a bit of white sauce and come up with a very light brown sauce that is so delicious. This has a lot of lemon and butter in it. Let me show you what, you know, I can put this on fish, beef stock on fish. Trust me, it's absolutely delicious. And it will make a wonderful meal for you. And the sauce is light. Remember now, sauces should support things, not cover them over. I've heard a Chinese chef once say that he thought the French method of saucing everything was immoral because the sauce became more important than the food. Now, the French, of course, have the reverse theory, but that's a very interesting concept, isn't it? Immoral indeed. What a riot. Let's put out the fish with a sauce on it, made of wine and beef stock and a basic white sauce, which, of course, is cream and a little thickening. All right, now we'll go on further. If you reduce... If you reduce an entire quart, no, 3 quarts, if you reduce 3 quarts of beef soup or beef stock, not the sauce, but the beef stock that we made originally, if you reduce it down to practically nothing, you come up with something. I've got to get a clean spatula here. Excuse me a second. Here's one. I don't want any moisture in this. You cook down. This is 3 quarts of sauce cooked down. Look at that. There's almost nothing there. It's cooked down to tar. And this is called glace de viande, or a meat glaze, the extract of the beef. You've cooked it down, and this will set up now. Look at how it's already sticking on my wooden spoon. You see how that, you can see that it won't even drip. Well, it barely drips. It almost forms a string right away. And this will set up in the refrigerator, and then you can cut it into little cubes. And what you've done is to make your own beef extract cubes. You've seen me do this before if you watched the shows years ago. And I still make this regularly. And it's wonderful if you have a gravy that is kind of poop out, and don't tell me you don't make those. You put a little bit of this glace de viande, keep it in your refrigerator, make little cubes out of it. Just cut these up after this sets up, you see. This will set up like a piece of rubber, and I can cut it into cubes, dust it with cornstarch, and then take one of these cubes and throw it into a sauce when the sauce is flat. Or I have a friend who makes fried eggs for breakfast, and he puts 1 cube of glace de viande, or meat extract glaze, literally, on the top of each fried egg, puts a lid on the pan. No, there's no fat in this. Very little fat. The fat's gone. We've skimmed the fat. The eggs, a little fat, yes, that's true. But that's all right. Okay, let's do another one. Here's a simple one. Again, using the basic sauce that we've made, the basic brown sauce, sauce espagnole, and we're going to make a marsala and mushroom sauce. It's terribly simple. Saute about 1 cup of mushrooms in a little bit of oil or butter, and I'm using olive oil or butter. I don't like to use, well, you've heard me preach on this 1,000 times. I don't like to use vegetable oils. I want you to use something that has either flavor or is safe to eat. And I don't think that when you use vegetable oils for frying, that they're really safe for you anymore. They collapse. So please avoid them. Olive oil, however, and peanut oil are fine. And a little butter, of course, add some oil to help it withstand high temperatures. You remember my telling you that before. A little oil in the pan, a little butter, and you're much better off. Okay, in my pan now I have the mushrooms, and I've sauteed them. You see, they're tender and nice. Now I'm going to add add a cup of, where are my ladles? Here they are. Add a cup of the French sauce right out of the pan, and we'll cook that down. This is really going to be disgustingly rich. It's just awful. Oh, this is the kind of thing that would cause Channing. Jason would not eat this. He thinks mushrooms taste like dirt. Oh, poor kid. Just as well. I eat all the mushrooms. I take them right off his plate. But Channing would eat this and say, "Oh, Dad, Dad." And for me, that's a great comment. 2 old dads, and I'm ready. Bring this to a simmer just until it's good and hot, and then we're going to add a bit of marsala. So we have a cup of mushrooms cooked in oil of some kind, butter or olive oil. Then we've added a cup of our brown sauce, and then we're going to add a 4th cup of dry marsala, not sweet. And marsala is that is that wonderful Italian wine that is, I guess it's herbs that give it such an interesting flavor, and then they age it some time, and it's wonderfully sweet in odor, but it isn't sweet in flavor. It's wonderful stuff. Marsala is great for cooking. I have a bottle of sweet Marsala in my kitchen and a bottle of dry Marsala always. And we'll probably need some salt and pepper in this, but I'll taste that later. I'm not going to worry about the salt now. The wine, you remember, helps you get rid of your terrible longing for salt because it satisfies the longing you have for salt. It really does. Oh, okay, that's enough. What would I do with this one? Well, this is so, well, I'll show you what I would do with this one. You could put on all sorts of things. While that simmers, let me find something to use here. I've got all sorts of good things back here. Matter of fact, I've forgotten what all I have back here. Here's one. We can serve this meat sauce, mushroom and marsala sauce, on meats. Now, this looks to you like a hamburger. And there's a fellow here that helps us in my kitchen named Fonzie. We call him Fonzie because he eats nothing but hamburgers. And you know what's going to happen? He's going to look at this and he's going to say, oh, good, a big fat hamburger. And then I'm going to put this wonderful marsala mushroom gravy on the top and turn this hamburger dinner into heaven. And I know what's going to happen. Fonzie's going to taste this and he's going to say, oh, who put that wonderful sauce on my hamburger? Poor Fonzie. He mainlines French fries and eats hamburger patties. I just can't get him off of them. There you are. This makes a hamburger into a wonderful meal. You understand what I've done? Very simple, not at all expensive once you get going, but it does take time to make the basic sauce. That's beautiful. Oh, the odor, the marsala, you see, is cooked out. I don't want to go on, but we will. We will. We have to do one more here. This one is fun. I'm going to do a sauce now with tomatoes, tomato and garlic sauce, which really should be served cold. So on that one day a week that you cook, you can have a colossal time with this one. It's literally called tomato and garlic. We'll put some oil in the pan, olive oil, in a heavy saucepan. Oh, a couple tablespoons, maybe 4. It's nice and rich, you see. We can anywhere from 2 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Add 4 cloves of garlic. We don't want cups. You know I do it, don't you? Why not? I'll pick out fat ones. I'm not going to clean these in front of you. You see me do that so many times. And we'll saute the crushed garlic in the olive oil. I'm going to do this very quickly for you because I already have a batch ready, and then I want to show you what you can put this tomato sauce on. There we are. 1, 2, 3. Buy a good garlic press. You know that that's a necessity. Somebody came up to me the other day in a market in the South, and she said, I bought one that looks just like yours, and it broke. I said, madam, it wasn't mine. Buy a good one. It's going to cost you $8 or $9 for a good garlic press, and you'll have it forever. So that isn't a bad investment, is it? Forever in our time. Saute the garlic for a time, and then we're going to add 8 large tomatoes, or about 7 cups of chopped tomatoes, cut up very, well, not terribly fine, but please remember to hold out some of the tomato. I'm going to hold out about 1/4. So I'm going to put, this is about 7 cups of tomatoes, sauce and, you know, juice and all. If your knife is sharp, when you cut up tomatoes, it'll not push so much juice out. All right, bring that to a simmer here, and we'll keep adding ingredients. We need to add a 1/2 cup of dry white wine. You can add red if you like. That'd be good too. What did I do with the white wine? Well, I don't see it. Here it is. I was going to say we're going to add red wine because I can't find the white. 1/2 cup of white wine, and then we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. The oregano will give it this terribly Italian flavor, and we're going to serve this cold. 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of basil. All right, a little more there. There we are. And we need to add some salt and pepper, just a pinch of salt because we have wine in there, which means you don't have to add much. And some pepper. And we're going to simmer that for about 20 minutes until it breaks down. But it's not sloppy. You know what I mean? We'll simmer this for 20 minutes. Did you get all the ingredients? I don't want to leave you today. We want 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and you saute 4 cloves of garlic in it. Then you add 3/4 of the batch of tomatoes you've cut up. That's about 8 large tomatoes, or about 7 cups. And then you add a little bit of white wine, about 1/2 cup, and a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of basil, some salt and pepper. Simmer that for 20 minutes, and at the end of the 20 minutes, you'll have something near a tomato sauce, but it's not worn out. I don't know what other word to use. You know what I mean? It's not worn out in flavor. The kind of sauce you cook for 3 days, or I'm exaggerating. The kind of sauce you cook for all day. I want something terribly fresh. So after that cooks for 20 minutes, then you add the rest of the tomatoes, the 1/4 of the batch that you've saved, and immediately turn the heat off. Turn it off right now and just stir them in and let them sit there. That's all there is to it. And what you will come up with is a sauce, a tomato sauce. Yes, it has peels in it. No, I don't peel my tomatoes. I think that's a strange thing to have to do. James Beard showed me how to peel a tomato once by holding it over a gas burner on a fork, and then the peel blisters and he pulls it off. But I consider that simply high church. You know, it may be fun, but it's not a necessity. You don't have to do that. Instead, I have a tomato sauce with the skins in it, and this is the one that I've already finished, you see. But you see, you have two kinds of chunks here. You have the whole chunks that I threw in at the end, and then the cooked down sauce. And this has the most delightful fresh flavor. You can put it on wonderful things. For instance, on an omelet. There. You can put it on an omelet and just absolutely knock them dead. Or, if you're a desperate person, you can put it on vegetables. I have rice and peas. And I'm going to put tomato sauce, fresh made tomato sauce, right over the top, and it makes a vegetable dish there. Well, if that doesn't turn you on, I'm distressed. There it is. This is delicious stuff. It's not expensive. It's made with fresh wines and a fresh way of cooking. That's the point behind this. Let's say we need a salad. Well, I don't even have room to put all these out. We'd certainly need a salad. Put our glace de viande over here. You didn't see me use much of that, but we could do that later on. I would even go so far as to put some of this beautiful gravy, the French brown stock or Espagnole sauce, on chicken. Beef stock on chicken? Yes, 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 and yes. You can't imagine what this light sauce, well, it's not light, it's heavy, what this light sauce will do for all kinds of meat. We've put sauces on fish, the whole works there. Okay, sauces in wine, or wine in sauces, or sauces from wine, and we've come up today with several good ones for you. I made a basic brown sauce after making soup stock first, and we have a chicken dish on which we've placed a rabbit dish, I think, with just wine from the pan. We've deglazed the pan and made our first sauce. Then the basic brown sauce from France we put on noodles. We added a demi-glaze, a reduced sauce, to a little white sauce and put that on some fish. Then we made a mushroom and marsala sauce and put that on some hamburgers for Fonzie. And tonight he's going to eat with class. He'll probably pick out the mushrooms, but that's his problem. Then we made a lovely light tomato sauce with wine in it and put it on an omelet, or we can put it on vegetables. We can have a field day because sauces have the possibility of raising vegetables to wonderful hopes and raising meats, anything you like. That's the point of cooking. Have a good time. Until I see you again, eat well, give someone nearby a hug. This is the Frugal Gourmet. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.